What's going on, everyone? AndCap24 here from playbook.gg. And today's video we're going to do is break down the seam flats coverage, everything you need to know about it. Now, if this is the first time checking out our channel and you want to win more games playing Madden, hit that subscribe button below. Don't forget to also click that bell icon to make sure you never miss any of our videos. So just recently went ahead and did a video on how cloud flats, how soft squats work. We had a lot of great feedback from the community. They wanted to get more types of videos like this. So we're deciding to do just seam flats. That way it's not going to be hopefully as long of a video, even though I'm going to get comprehensive into it. I do apologize that this may be a little bit longer, but I want to make sure you understand all the principles that is seam flats, when to use them, when they activate, and the whole 9 yards, okay? So the first thing I want to do, because this video may be for some people that are a little bit more new to Madden, I'm going to start with the basics. What is a seam flat as far as what does it look like on the play art? If you see, you're going to see that there are purples that are lighter, okay? When there are darker purples on the field, like you see on the cover 3 sky press, that is going to be a curl flat. But the one above it, which is the cross 3 fire press, has light purples. Those are indicated as seam flats. Typically speaking, your seam flats are going to pop up mostly always on cover 3 blitzes. As you can see, Overload 3 seam has it. And then you're going to see here that the Edge Blitz 3 have them, the STR Eagle Slant 3, Max Sting 3, and so on. You can see the top and the bottom one over here. They all have it. For this video, I'm going to start off with cover 3 match because I want to make sure you understand that when you send people, you're not going to get the full matching principles of this defense. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure you see it from the full matching and then basically explain it from there, okay? So we're going to call that, and I'm going to call spread to start off with. The first principle I want to talk about, and I want to make sure you understand this from the get-go. Seam flats do not activate unless there is a 2x2 set, okay? I want to make sure that's the first thing. What is that exactly does that mean? That means there's 2 receivers to the left and 2 receivers to the right. Okay, so if you're taking notes, make sure you write that down as number 1. Seam flats will not activate unless there are 2 receivers to the left or 2 threats to the left, 2 threats to the right. Okay, the second thing is seam flats will not activate if there is not an outside receiver. So what does that mean? If you're in a gun-tight formation, and I'll get into this as we do the video, where both the outside receivers and the inside receivers are compressed as close to the outside tackles of your line, it won't activate as well as a matching principle. So 2 things right off the bat. Won't activate if it's not in a 2x2 set, and will not activate unless there is an outside receiver on that side, okay? So we're going to go start off with the truest form of when you would see seam flats is a 2x2 set like spread, where both the Y and the A are in the slot position, meaning they are not attached to the line. And what you're going to see here is that your seam flats are going to match the number 2 receivers. What that basically means is you count your numbers from the outside in, so your X and your B are number 1s, your Y and your A are number 2s. So the inside slot receivers are going to match as long as they go vertical, okay? What does vertical mean? Anything other than a flat, a drag, or a slant. They get that like 3+ yards vertical on their route, it's considered vertical. So in this instance, the easiest way I'm going to show this to you is I'm going to put the A on a curl, the Y on a curl, the B on a smart routed in, the X on a smart routed in. The reason why I'm showing you this is because I want to show you when people match and how they match. The seam flats are going to match the inside receivers. The outside cornerbacks are going to match the X and the B because they both are outside and they've got slot receivers on their sides. So watch what happens here. Both those players go ahead and match. As you can see, the cornerbacks are running side to side, okay? So I'm going to show this for the people that may have been paying attention to the quarterback and not the receivers. On this side, you've got an outside receiver and you got a slot receiver. So when you see that, what you're going to see is the slot receiver gets matched by the seam flat number 31, and the outside cornerback is going to match the outside receiver. Now on the other side, it's going to work the same exact way because these are mirror images, right? Basically, the slot is going to go here. The seam flat hits them, and you can see how the cornerback matches, right? Now, the reason why they do that is all 4 of those players run vertical routes. Now, what happens if I put the A on drag, okay? What you should expect is on the left side of the field, we didn't change anything. So those guys are both running vertical routes, so the seam flat is going to cover the Y down the field, and the X is going to cover the, or going to get covered by the outside corner down the field, and they're going to match. So if I was to put this X on a deep in, it's going to look like that. Now, the A is not on a vertical route, so the seam flat, because he does not go vertical, and I'm talking about this player right here, okay, Chung. He is going to now, instead of covering the seam, he's going to cover the second part of his name, which is the flat, okay? So because he has nobody going up the seam, he's going to cover the flat. However, there is matching going on this play as well. What ends up matching is the backside hook curl, okay? So basically, it's this guy right here, Collins. When the drag goes across the field, you should expect the backside hook curl in this type of defense to match him. So watch what happens here. I'm going to see that the player goes there. I'm going to move him up the field, and you're going to see how he still covers him. That's how you know that it's matching, right? He's not just covering an area. Let me show you what I mean here. So this set is a 2x2. So seam flats will match. And the fact that you got the 2 slot receivers that are detached from the line, they will match if they go vertical. We already saw on this side that these guys both get matched because they both go vertical. See how 83 gets matched by that player. And you can see how this player gets matched by the outside corner matches that player. Now on this side, what you should expect is that 18 is going to get matched by this player because he's vertical. But you can see that the seam flat right here, this is Chung. We talked about this before. Because he does not go vertical, he is now going to go in the flat. There's no receiving threat in the flat, so he's going to play his area until he sees a threat, right? He's got nobody, he's waiting for somebody. But on this side, I want you to look at this linebacker right here, number 58. He is going to go ahead and match the, let's back this up here, the drag going across. He's the backside hook curl. He's going to match that player, and you're going to be good, right? So what does that mean exactly? If you are in this type of defense, you see that there's a 2x2, and you are stuck on one of these users, right? Say you're on this user, and you see that the A goes across, you know you don't have to worry about that drag because the backside hook is going to cover it. However, if you're on this player here and you see that the A comes across, you're going to know that that is going to be your responsibility. By all means, you can leave him and just let him get a 5 to 6 yard gain and rally down and go get him, or you're going to know that's his player. Furthermore, if you're going to see that the Y is on a drag, it's going to work the same way because this player right here is going to match. So let me show you that. It's going to work the same exact way. The backside hook curl, go see how that, if I go up the field, see how he matches them. Okay, so I'm just going to throw the ball away. So if you're usering somebody in this type of defense, you're going against a 2x2 set, you have to be cognizant of the drag going from the opposite side of where you're starting. Okay, so if you're the left linebacker, you want to look for the right side drag. If you're the right side linebacker, you want to look for the left side drag. You want to make sure you understand that, okay? Let's get out of this and kind of go a little bit further into our principles. What I'm going to do is go into gun doubles. It's going to be very, very similar, but yet different. What changed right here? Only thing that changed was the tight end came on the line. So again, the first principle is seam flats only work when there's a 2x2 set, right? These are 2x2s. What I mean by that is still 2 receivers to the left, 2 threats to the right. Now, they only work when they have a player to the outside. We have that, okay? Now, the third principle is the outside player will only get matched if there is a player in the slot. So on the left side, the outside player will get matched because there is a player in the slot, meaning the Y. However, on the right side, that is not the case. There's no player in the slot right now, right? The tight end is now in next to the line, basically as a sixth lineman, right? However, that player will get matched if he is going on a vertical, okay? So want to make sure you understand this, right? So left side, nothing changed. The outside corner is going to match because you've got a slot and outside receiver. The inside player is going to get matched by this seam flat because you get outside, inside, as long as they go vertical. However, on this side, the outside player will not get matched no matter what, okay? Because there's not a player in the slot. However, the slot or the inside player, the number 2, will. So let me show you here what's going to end up happening. You're going to see that the player on Hooper is going to match him down the field. Everybody else gets matched. The B would not have, okay? Now, I didn't show a good example of the B not getting matched. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the B on a in pattern here. So let me go ahead and get back to that gun doubles. And I want to make sure that you see that the B on an in is probably the easiest way that I could show you this, okay? So the B will go across the field and not get matched by the outside corner, but he'll end up getting matched by, see how goes across the field? So the outside guys only match if there is a player in the slot. So on this side, outside guy is going to match because there's a player in the slot. See how he does that? Same route combination on this side. It won't happen because there's no player in the slot. He's going to let that guy go across the field, and you can see that the number 2 gets matched down the field, okay? So 3 different principles going. I know I'm going to be repetitive, but I want to make sure you understand. It won't match unless it's a 2x2 set. So you have to have 2x2 to do it. It's only going to match if you're on a vertical route, and it's only going to match if you got somebody to the outside as far as a starting point for a receiver's position. And it's only going to match the outside receivers if there is a player in the slot position. Okay. Now that we got that, let's go ahead and illustrate a little bit more. Okay. So let's go to something like gun wide trips. In this situation, I'm going to tell you that they're not going to match on the right side. Why? It's because it's not a 2x2 set. All you've got is something where basically, no, I'll do it where it's just something like this, right? It doesn't really matter what the route combination is, but they're not going to match because there's 3 players. The seam flat is going to let the RB go down the field, and then he's going to cover the flat, which is the A. See how that works there? He's going to turn himself basically into a curl flat player, okay? So when there's 3 receiver sets, that's the way it works. However, I could take the same exact formation, which is the gun Y strip sweep right here, and basically motion over the RB, and I want to show you what it creates. Okay, this creates basically gun doubles. Now on the left side, you've got a outside receiver and a slot receiver, so it's going to match on the left side. So if I go ahead and put the RB on a streak, the X on an in, on the left side, basically I can do the same thing, right? I can put the A on a streak, the RB on an in, and you're going to see that the left side will match both players. The right side, the only player that's going to match is the A because of the fact that he is not detached. He is on the line, right? So here you go. See the A gets matched down the field. All these, the one player that wasn't going to get matched is this B receiver, and we knew that, right? By the outside players. So that's really how you have to understand this. Now, I can go to gun tight. I want to make sure you see this because I know I've mentioned it, but a lot of times people are visual learners. These players are both going to be compressed. There is no outside receiver, therefore there is no matching. These guys will play like they're playing curl flats, like normal cover 3, right? So if you just look at the R seam flats, but these guys are going to go to the outside and cover the outside players because there's no matching because they're compressed. You need to have an outside player to be part of matching. But I could do this, if I'm in gun tight, you see that you don't have to worry about it right away, right? But as soon as that somebody moves one of those players to the outside, what you've created is an outside player. And what you've created with the Y is basically you've created a slot receiver. He's not attached to the player, right? So in this instance, what you can see is that they're not going to match on the right side because there's no outside receiver. But they will on the left side. So what you can see is that the X is going to get followed and on the Y is going to get followed, right? So watch how this works. Y gets followed down the field. X gets followed down the field. On the right side, basically did it. So what do you have to worry about? What you need to worry about is basically somebody doing this, right? You're in gun tight. You don't think that they're going to match, right? Your first thought should be this. This is how your thought process should be, right? Gun tight. I'm in seams. Nobody's going to match. They moved this guy over and you said, okay, now the left side's going to match. What if they put somebody on the right side on a slant across the field, right? Now what you're going to see is that the Y and the X are going to clear out the area, and now the B is going to be the player that's going to get over there. Did you see who matched him? Like we said before, it's the backside hook curl. So you need to know, again, which player you're going to go. So if you see that this is right here, a opportunity to where you've got an outside and an inside, you know that there's a possibility that the left side of the field could get flushed out. So you know that if that's the case, you want to user the side opposite of it, because like what happened here, the left side hook curl we explained to you will match a drag or a slant. So in this instance, you saw what happened, right? If you were using that left side, backside player, he would have been your responsibility. So in order to make sure that you don't have to worry about it, you want to user the opposite side of the potential, because then you know the other side will do it. Now, if they're in a blitz, if we're in a blitz typing situation, it's not going to work, right? So like if I was in, let me see if I can find a, I'll just do it this way, where I'm going to do the same thing here, and I'm going to blitz this hook curl, right? And you're going to see some different ones where, you know, they'll have different type of blitzes. But if they blitz that, then you're going to know that you're going to have that responsibility. So I want to make sure you understand that when you have two hook curls on the field, that's where the matching happens. That's why I'm showing you this at $1, okay? So depending on what you see and you understand the principles and you run them down, then you're going to know. And this does not have to be just in gun, right? This could be in single back. I can do single back doubles, and it's going to work the same way. All it's going to say is, left side's going to match because there's an outside receiver and there's a slot. Right side, the only player that's going to match is the tight end if he goes vertical, right? That's just the way it's going to end up working. Now, if I'm in something like bunch or bunch open tight end, let's look at that, right? So, actually not a bunch open tight end, bunch tight end, right? Say do something like this. What you're going to know, and I want to make sure you hammer this out. If I'm moving a player from, say I'm moving Ridley over, the left side is still compressed. There's no outside receiver. So you're not going to get matching on the left. But on the right, you're going to get matching on the tight end because you have an outside receiver now. And you've got somebody that's in the second position, but he's not in a slot. So you can see that they're not going to match on the left side. But on the right side, they did. Right? So I want to make sure that you understand how this all works and when it works, why it does, because it makes sense when you get the principles down. And if you're going to run a offense like this, you're going to want to know all the ins and outs. I want to call you one more type of strategy so you understand how things match. And it's really kind of one of the better ones out there, what I use, if people run a certain type of scheme, right? The scheme would be, people like to do something like this, where, let me just get the defense real quick for you. Okay. They do like inside switch, where they're going to put somebody to the flat. They're going to take, say, we'll just take this player, put him on a streak, move him over, and they're going to do something like this, right? Where the right side of the field, they've got a streak, they've got a corner, and they got a flat. What you should expect on this is that the A is going to get matched by the player, because even though the RB is a third receiver, he comes from the backfield, so they don't count it as part of their rules. So what's going to end up happening here, just so you make sure you see, the seam flat is going to take the tight end. This hook curl is going to take the running back out of the backfield. And then this player, because he's not getting matched, is just going to cover the B down the field because that's where he's going anyways. So you kind of want to use this backside hook curl in this instance, right? If that's the case, or just knowing that if you want to, you could use this hook curl in order to know that that's going to be your running back. It just all depends on what you want to do, right? So you go see here, you're going to see that this player is going to go down. He grabs that. See how everybody's covered in this instance? Now, I'm going to show you from an offensive standpoint and a defensive standpoint what you could do to change this, right? What that's going to be is if you go ahead and you hike this ball before he settles outside, the principles change, because what the principles were was, remember, you have to have an outside receiver in B. So if you go ahead and hike it when he's compressed, they're not going to match, right? Because now they're going to go down there, and now you're going to be able to throw that ball pretty easily to that player because you hiked it in a position where they were compressed, not out wide. So understanding these principles can help you dearly if you want to use this type of defense. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just do cover 3 sky press. I want to make sure you see that you can use this player right here. See, right? I go Y. I can put this player in a seam flat, right? I could put this guy in a seam flat. So you're able to, let me just go like this here. This is the player that's going to be able to put in a seam flat, right? You're able to change things up, right? The seam flats you can get on the field by your safeties and your nickel corners when they're in a position to be so. So I want to make sure you understand that when it comes to your nickel corners and whatnot, that you can put these on the field. You can put it on one side if you want. If you feel like you're on a side where it has a outside receiver and a slot and you want them to play and match, put a seam flat out there, right? So that really gives you some options when you're doing it, where you can do one side one way, one side the other, knowing what the principles are, mix match defenses. I know this might have been a long video, but I wanted to make sure you understood the principles of seam flats, when they activate, when they don't activate, who they will match when they have certain different formations they're going against. So it's not a guessing game for you. It's more of a knowledge base. I can incorporate this now that I know how it works. And, basically the fact that Madden allows you to go and see what formations you're going against prior really makes this more of a viable option this year than any other option in the past. If you like this video, please go ahead and leave a like. Let us know. I know these are a little bit more tutorials. If you guys want to see a different coverage broke down, make sure you mention it in the chat. If we can get 200 likes on this video, we'll go ahead and drop whichever coverage you guys want next. Now, if you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you check out these videos below for the most helpful Madden tips. If you're looking to learn from the best players in the world, head over to www.playbook.gg for the most detailed game plans in Madden.